that's moving along pretty good, and we will continue to search out other donors, that kind of thing. It's a very nice unit. SimLab update, it's a work in progress. AHS has provided us a cost and the scope of the project. The main goal with the SimLab is to partner with Medicine Hat College. We're hoping that we can create that partnership. So instead of having 2 SimLabs in Brooks because they use one out at the college, they would partner with us and use the one at the hospital. So for future employee retention, the students that they're educating out at the college, they would have the opportunity and see what our facilities like in Brooks, and maybe we could keep those people here to practice in the field. And also, it's a good asset to have for doctor or physician and frontline worker retention. It's a very valuable asset in a hospital our size. Gives the opportunity, as we are first point of contact hospital, and things can be assessed here more quickly. If we have the SimLab, they can run scenarios and then decide what needs to be done, and hopefully they can do the work here, and if not, then people are obviously sent either to Medicine Hat or Calgary. So we're pleased to announce that we are working on that. We are also looking at exploring BrooksNet for the hospital. Currently, we're looking at doing a feasibility study because of the structure of the building and the age of the building. It's important that they do a assessment, and that's a $5,000 feasibility study. So we're, as a board, assessing that right now. We're hoping to maybe find a partnership on that because that's going to be a big investment in our hospital, but it's a much needed asset to the hospital. The one thing is the current Wi-Fi that we have there, or internet that we have there, is separate from AHS. AHS has their own because it's encrypted, or for data security, that kind of thing. So they have basically 2 internet providers at the hospital. One is AHS provided, and then one is the community internet. So we're still assessing that and seeing how we should approach that. And they can't give us a total cost on it till they do a feasibility study. So that's where we're at with that currently. The next thing let's give you an update on is fundraising is going very well. We have really positive interaction with our community, so it's really great to see. We continue to invest in our hospital. Our community's invested well over $5 million into the hospital, and that continues to grow. The Eric Hawk Pediatric Fund that was set up by his parents in 2022 has just surpassed $250,000, and it continues to be the beneficiary of a number of various fundraising efforts in our community, including the 4-H sale. We were we are the recipient of 1/3 of the proceeds of the donor steer that raised $40,000, thanks to the kids in our community for that. And the Dusty Plains 4-H Club, they did an awesome job promoting it, and great support from the community on that. We really appreciate that. Prairie Girls Gala was another one. We are currently doing an online auction, and thank you to the city for their donation to that. It will be starting on June 10th, which would have been Eric's 3rd birthday, and it runs the week of the 10th to the 15th. So it's an online auction, and people can have access to that through our brooksfoundations.ca website. The link is in there. So and it's being promoted on the radio as well and on our social media pages. Let's see here. Smoker Wars is coming up the weekend of the 14th, 15th, and we're also a beneficiary there. So we're pleased about that. We have a partnership with Silver Sage Ag Society on a cash raffle. They're selling tickets, and that draw will be this weekend at the rodeo. So that's great. We have been the beneficiary of a few estate donations, which is exciting. And again, it's a legacy for the family. And that was what, going back to the Eric Hawk Pediatric Fund, that's a legacy fund that's been set up in his memory, and with the intention of the money going towards pediatric care and improving pediatric care in our hospital. It was not for anything specific, but it's designated towards pediatric equipment. So, and we continue to work towards educating the community on our role as a foundation. So that is exciting. And recent purchases with proceeds from various fundraising activities and casinos and things like that. An ECG machine for ER, a bladder scanner, specialty chairs for children with speech therapy and hearing services. We also purchased some Go Talk machines that help these children. We've got a pediatric IV pumps that we've purchased and an ultrasound machine. So we continue to look at various options. That's, as a board, we kind of wander around and see what's needed, and our hopes and goals are to keep our families and our loved ones close to home in their time of need. So that's what we're up to.
Okay, I'll open it up for questions here. Before I start there, I had the opportunity to work with the Smiles for Cookies campaign at Tim Hortons, and I don't know if you had a total from that yet there. I think they're still tabulating on that, but
yes.
Yeah.
It's over 25,000. They
Yeah.
haven't confirmed the final number, so we're really excited about that. And again, we appreciate your assistance with that. It was a fun week.
Yeah. Your four board members, I don't know if you're at liberty to mention who you had 4 new board members, you said?
Yes.
Are you at liberty to say? You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of names.
No,
Yeah.
no. Anyway, you don't have to say it at this
yeah.
time. I just always want to thank people in the community that come forward to volunteer on the board there. And yourself, I know you've been involved in a long time, with this organization. So thank you very much. I'll leave it up. Any other questions? Councillor Woodrup?
Thanks for the update. I had a couple questions. The first one, I was a little surprised to hear that the sim lab, does that mean simulation?
That's
lab,
correct, yes.
I'm assuming. So that doesn't happen at the hospital at this point. So how do how many practicum students do you guys get then?
So through the college,
different,
the
right?
college does the practicum at our site, and I believe Medicine Hat also does practicum here. So currently they do their simulation stuff out at Medicine Hat College, the Brooks campus and Medicine Hat. This is new to our site, and it's very common to have a simulation lab in a rural setting, but also in the city settings. I heard an interesting report when the Alberta Children's Hospital in Calgary was doing their fundraising efforts through Country 105 Radiothon this spring. One of the doctors said, it's an incredible asset because when a child comes in, or any patient for that matter, it can be utilized on, but when it gives them the opportunity to test and assess aside from the actual patient, it gives them the ability to kind of plan out the scope of how they're going to take on the project, the patient, their needs. So it's an incredibly important asset once you look at what it potentially, the life-saving abilities that it creates.
Yeah.
So the physicians approached us about it about 5 years ago, and we've been working with AHS in the interim to try and get it here. And it will also help retain staff because of Brooks we don't have specialty units per se, so it's all hands on deck if there's an emergency. So the ability to train people on site is a very, very valuable investment for our site because of the scope of the different types of emergencies and things that we can then encounter there.
Awesome. I do have one more. In terms of BrooksNet, hopefully being able to work with you guys after that feasibility study. So what ways does that concretely impact your service delivery? Because you mentioned it would make a big difference. I guess how does that?
The infrastructure is really dated at the hospital, and the foundation put the current system in, I think it was about 10 or 15 years ago, and technology has, of course, changed, but it makes a big difference because for patients for TV services and all of that, but the scope of the technical part of it is incredibly large because of the current infrastructure they have there and all of the dealings and the rewiring and the age of the building and all of this. So they can't give us a final cost, but they can do the feasibility study, and if we move forward with it, they will take that feasibility study cost and apply it to the cost of the project. So we are looking at how we can approach to have that project partnered, because we like partnerships.
Okay, any other questions? Councillor Idris?
Just to follow up on that, so are you looking for the for the BrooksNet for patient experiences, or also even for the administration, or they have the SuperNet with that from the government?
They have their own internet for all medical stuff, but it's for patient and family use in the hospital.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would kind of see it as an opportunity if somebody's in the hospital to use FaceTime or Zoom or something like that, or just to be in contact with family there. And the TV has changed so much, and you know, I mean, you can watch TV now on your iPad, and that would be such an asset to somebody in there for a period of time. That's how I see it.
Yeah, actually, we've had very generous donations over the last number of years for new TVs throughout the hospital, but we're finding that those new TVs are not working so well with the old internet.
Right, with the old
So,
technology,
Yes, exactly. There's like an evolution of everything everything needs to be upgraded.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you for the
and
invite.
thanks for what you do in the community there. We really appreciate it there, so.
Well, thank you guys as well.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Idris that the following items of correspondence be received as information, updates on council conferences and/or workshops, accounts payable listing, and notes from the council committee, May 28th, 2024. All those in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor Wardrobe.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a note on the minutes from the last council committee meeting on the item number 3, where it talked about our discussion about the animal bylaw. I would like to see this part maybe altered. It said that L. Grant advised that they follow the same criteria as Calgary for nuisance dogs, and then spoke about the city's provisions related to vicious dogs, but the whole purpose there of that I brought that forward is that we don't follow the same provisions for nuisance dogs because we don't have a nuisance dog thing. So it should say that he spoke about the city's provisions related to vicious dogs, because there was no nuisance dogs provision in Brooks. We don't have that, and Calgary does. That was the discussion.
Okay, and Jenny will make the correction on that then, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect, okay. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the month of June be hereby proclaimed as Pride Month in the city of Brooks. I believe Amy's online there. Amy? We got you back, Amy. I forgot to turn on my mic. Okay, are you there?
I am, thank you. Sorry, I lost the in council. In 2016, Canada introduced legislation that aims to help ensure transgender and other gender diverse persons can live according to their gender identity and gender expression. During Pride Month, we celebrate victories that have affirmed freedom and fairness, and we recommit ourselves to completing the work that remains. If we all speak for acceptance, justice, and dignity, hearts and minds continue to change over time, and laws will too. Members from the LGBTQ+ community can surround us locally from our community members, coworkers, friends, and family. The people of the city of Brooks are called upon to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists and to celebrate the diversity of Canada and our community. In honor of this special day, the city of Brooks will be raising a pride flag for the month of June. Therefore, administration is recommending that the month of June 2024 be formally recognized as Pride Month in the city of Brooks.
Okay, any questions? Okay, To the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Jessica that the week of June 17th to the 23rd, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as Pollinator Week in the city of Brooks. Amy, you again.
Thank you through the chair to Mayor and Councilors. Pollinator Week is an annual celebration in support of pollinator health and the vital role that pollinators play in our ecosystems, economies, and agriculture. This year's event urges us to envision a future where pollinators not only survive, but thrive. Bees, butterflies, moths, bats, beetles, and hummingbirds are the unsung heroes behind the food we enjoy and the beauty that surrounds us. The City of Brooks became a Bee City Canada community in 2021, and the Environmental Advisory Committee works to increase public awareness about the importance of pollinators and annually plans activities to celebrate pollinators during Pollinator Week. Therefore, administration is recommending that the week of June 17th to 23rd be hereby proclaimed as Pollinator Week.
Okay, any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that June 21st, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as National Indigenous Peoples Day in the city of Brooks. I believe this is you again, Amy.
Thank you through the chair to Mayor and Council. National Indigenous Peoples Day offers Indigenous peoples an excellent opportunity to share their rich, diverse cultures with family members, neighbors, friends, and visitors. Indigenous peoples, including First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people, gather each year to celebrate and share their culture and heritage on or near June 21st. This day is chosen as it falls on the longest day of the year, which marks the summer solstice. National Indigenous Peoples Day is a day for individuals to get together and learn more about Indigenous people and their contributions to Canada. Therefore, administration is recommending June 21st be hereby proclaimed as National Indigenous Peoples Day in the city of Brooks.
Okay, any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Idris that council award the 2024 street improvement project tender to Brooks Asphalt and Aggregate Limited in the amount of $2,574,854, excluding extra work allowances, contingencies, and GST. Don.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mayor and Council, the city's 2024 street improvement project was posted May 8th, 2024 on bids and tenders. The tender closed on May 23rd. The tender included street improvement projects, the water main replacement project, and the trails project. The budget for the projects is $2,798,924. This also includes the intersection of Silver Sage and Young Road that was started in 2023 and has yet to be invoiced due to unfinished work. The various project locations are as follows. Center Street, so that would complete it from the south end at 2nd Avenue. Fairview Reservoir surface improvements. 2nd Avenue complete full rebuild from 3rd Street East to A to Z. Viner Road, complete rebuild from Young Road to the new section. 6th Street East, complete north end at Sutherland Drive. Sutherland Drive, walking trail from Castles to the new dog park. Ready Enterprises, Society wheelchair ramp, which was cost recovered from Ready Enterprises. Water main replacement, so it will be replacement of the steel water main from 2nd Street West to Alberta Street on Castles Road. One tender was received by Brooks Asphalt and Aggregate in the amount of $2,574,854, excluding extra work allowances, contingencies, and GST. Therefore, staff is recommending council award the 2024 street improvement project tender to Brooks Asphalt and Aggregate Limited in the amount of $2,574,854, excluding extra work allowances, contingencies, and GST.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Jessica.
Yeah, thank you for that, Don. It's always nice to hear more than one tender, but it did come in under your budget, which is kind of a good sign. Did anybody else take out a package?
No. A little late in the year, I think, might have been a bit of a reason why. Everybody's going full force right now.
When's your target on getting this all done?
It was mid-September.
Okay.
They're supposed to start after the long weekend, after Canada Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Wardrop that council approve the Centennial Regional Arena proposed hours of operation. Randy.
Through the chair to mayor and council. So recently there were inefficiencies noted with the advertised hours for the Centennial Regional Arena. As a result, staff were scheduled at the CRA during the standard winter hours as advertised when the track was closed and there were no bookings. Staff advised that during these particular hours, patrons rarely, if ever, attended the facility for spontaneous use, so somebody would just drop in and potentially go for a skate. In addition, the current advertised operating hours are not clear, so these are the standard hours as posted on the City of Brooks website. For the summer, May 1st to August 31st, Monday to Friday, the standard hours are 8 to 4, and the track hours are also 8 to 4. Saturday and Sunday, it's advertised as being closed. Winter and fall hours, September 1st to April 30th. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, standard hours are advertised as 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the track hours are 6:30 to 4:30. Tuesday and Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then the track hours are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Saturday and Sunday, there aren't actually any advertised hours at all, and it's also not specified that it would be closed. So the track is only open until 4:30 due to bookings in the evenings and on weekends. And in the fall and winter, that would interfere with the track use. In the summer, the facility closes at 4 p.m. due to staffing levels. There have been times when there are no bookings on the ice in the evenings after 4 p.m. However, the CRA requires staff according to the advertised hours of operation, just in case somebody were to come in. Staff feel it would be more efficient to schedule staff when able to at the JBS Canada Centre during those evenings where it's busier than have staff at the CRA until 8 p.m. unless there, of course, there are bookings or other things that need to be done. Currently, there are not any winter hours specified for Saturday and Sunday, and the CRA is open for bookings only. Summer hours specify as being closed, and as a result of all of the above, staff are proposing the following hours of operation just to clarify. So in the summer, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the hours would be 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then evenings and weekends, we would advertise that we are open for bookings. In the fall and winter, Monday, Wednesday, Friday would be 6:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then evenings and weekends open for bookings as well. And that's currently essentially what we do. With the above proposed changes, scheduling staff will be more efficient when there's no bookings in the evenings, and staff can be scheduled where they're more necessary. And these proposed changes would not affect the level of service provided because we would still accommodate those bookings on evenings and weekends in both the summer and winter. This information was presented to the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board at their May 15th meeting, and the following motion was made. It was moved by Dwayne Perkins that the board recommend the proposed CRA hours to council for approval, and that motion was carried. Therefore, administration recommends that council approve the Centennial Regional Arena proposed hours of operation.
Okay. Any questions? Councillor Goodenough.
I'm just curious on the staffing side of things, then there will be a cutback in hours for staffing that, just for clarification on that?
Through the chair to Councillor Goodenough, no, it wouldn't be a cutback in hours. It would be, we would use those hours at the JBS Canada Centre,
Okay.
where it's busier and where
Right.
we need a little more support.
Okay, so we'll shuffle them around. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we weren't going to get into union problems
No.
of that.
No,
proportion.
and to
Thank you.
clarify further, this really only happened, or only happens at certain times of year, particularly in March when minor hockey's in their playoffs, and a lot of those, as teams get knocked out of the playoffs, they start canceling their practices and games. So usually during those winter months, we are booked until 9 or 10 p.m. on weekdays anyway, and a full day of bookings on weekends. So it really doesn't impact a whole lot, but it does give us a little bit more flexibility when those situations occur.
I'm just curious, and on that note of when there's bookings taking place, how many staff does that typically take for a hockey team to come in and for a tournament or for just a game?
Yeah. Through the chair to Councillor Goodenough. So just for like a typical minor hockey game, we would usually have just one operator at the at the facility. For a tournament, we could usually just have one operator, like a minor hockey tournament, one operator, and then we would usually have somebody staffed at the front desk as well. Bandits games are a little more intensive, and they require 4 operators and of course somebody at the front desk. So
Thank you.
Just a clarification on the walking path, like on the weekend in the wintertime, like you got Saturday, Sunday opening for bookings, but is it not open, like, let's say there's a minor hockey tournament going on, and I wanted to, or somebody wanted to use the track, they're able to go in there, right?
through the chair to Mayor Petrie, we don't advertise that the track is open, but as long as they're not interfering with the booking, we just kind of turn a blind eye. It's just we want to avoid user conflicts, so we don't advertise or promise that the track is open. A lot of the times hockey parents might even just decide to walk the track, or you notice at Bandits games, for example, people are walking the track, but we would just want to, we don't want to advertise those hours because we don't want to create any user conflicts with the people who are booking the facility.
Okay, makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Jessica, the bylaw 2416, by the way, thank you, Randy. Moved by Councillor Jessica, that bylaw number 2416 being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to amend bylaw 1412, being the land use bylaw, be introduced and read first time. Gavin, or...
Through the Chair to Mayor and Council, the residential land use bylaw update has been initiated by multiple observations, both internal and external to the City of Brooks. Although initial requests by developers may have focused on the allowance for secondary suites to be introduced into semi-detached housing and townhouses, these changes could not be taken in simple isolation within the broader context of housing needs and the practical execution of the land use bylaw. The land use bylaw is a living document that needs to be constantly reviewed and altered to suit the demands of the community as it grows. As such, the attached proposed revisions need to be understood in the broader context of other existing documents, including the Municipal Development Plan, all adopted area structure plans, and Alberta safety codes. The draft amendments are consistent with the objectives and policies of the Municipal Development Plan and therefore can be supported without amendment to that document. The objectives and policies of the 4 residential sector area structure plans, however, may not, given their various dates of adoption, be fully complementary. Although the Municipal Government Act does not require consistency between the statutory plans and the land use bylaw, practicality does require that as documents are reviewed and inconsistencies should be addressed as council sees fit. During this review, Alberta Safety Code's requirements for secondary suites were reviewed, and the proposed changes are not at odds with that document. Secondary suites development has both building criteria as defined by the province and development control requirements as defined by the city. In the current land use bylaw, secondary suites were limited to single unit dwelling types, whereas the building code allows them to in other building types. A review of other municipalities showed that most are moving towards allowing secondary suites in townhouses, row houses, and semi-detached housing types, where these dwelling units are on individual titles. It is this change that appears in the bylaws amendment. Further changes include clarification and definition of multi-unit development types, whereas townhouses have a specific connotation as a dwelling type, units in a row. Multi-unit dwellings, more commonly developed as 4 and 6 plexes, are seen to be different and have been defined as such. The townhouse definition has also been redefined to include semi-detached housing, 2 units side by side, and it has been renamed as attached housing. 2 new housing definitions have been introduced: cluster housing, which provides for small square foot single unit development to occur on one lot. Multiple unit residential development has also been introduced to capture development like the Wellings of Brooks development. The development style includes multiple buildings, each with multiple units, all developed on one lot. To assist developers, staff, and council and the public in understanding the impacts of redesignation to higher density developments, a new land use district has been introduced and is entitled or fits between residential low density and residential high density. Whereas residential low density is being limited to 4 dwelling units, the new residential medium density district will be limited to 8 dwelling units, and the high density will take 8 units and above. The big pro here is that the density being clarified for processing of development proposals. The con is that some existing developments between 5 and 8 dwelling units will not initially be designated to this zone. This will not affect their continuation as a housing, except where they desire to do additions to the development. Staff will bring forward a subsequent bylaw amendment to rectify this reality. Regarding parking requirements, it is recommended that the standards for residential parking be kept as defined in the land use bylaw. Although working towards transit options, the City of Brooks is a vehicularly oriented community, and parking remains part of the culture. Where appropriate, the Municipal Planning Commission has options when parking standards are appropriate. These options will be explored and discussed during the process of every residential development application. Finally, several other amendments are contained within the draft where inconsistencies in terms or missing information was needed to clarify the bylaw's intent. In the attached bylaw, Schedule A, the edits appear in 2 forms, where red represents the additions and text strike-through represents the deletions. The recommendation this evening that Council complete first reading and set the public hearing for June 17th.
Okay, since this is first reading, we can ask for a clarification. Anybody need any clarification on anything? Otherwise, we'll just go to the motion then. Councilor Jessica, just a clarification, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Gavin. So just like a little bit of reassurance, I've seen this advertised in the paper. Were there any other steps taken to notify people in these residential areas about the change, or is that all that's required?
That was all that was required.
Go ahead, Gavin.
Yeah, that was all that was required, is the advertisement. Direct impacts, like I said, for those that get caught up in the new district, we'll be addressing those directly.
Okay.
And just to follow up, were there any contacts from concerned citizens?
Not so far. So there's yet another advertising to come this Wednesday.
Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councilor Nesbitt that a public hearing be held on June 17th, 2024 at 5 p.m. to gather public input regarding bylaw 2416. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Prentice that bylaw 2417 being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to amend bylaw number 2306 being a bylaw to provide the establishment of the Environmental Advisory Committee of the City of Brooks be introduced and read first time. Who's got this one here? Just wait, I gotta get my notes. Oh, okay, Amy?
Thank you, through the chair to mayor and council. The Environmental Advisory Committee bylaw currently provides for not more than 1 youth representative on the committee between the ages of 14 and 18 who attend school. Eco Brooks has recently discussed changing the number of youth representatives to not more than 2 youth representatives, and that they preferably be from different schools. At the council committee meeting held May 14th, council committee discussed changing the number of youth reps to not more than 2 and directed administration to bring forward an amending bylaw to council for approval. Therefore, administration.
Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Wardrop that bylaw 2417 be read a second time. Any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that bylaw 2417 be given 3 readings at this meeting, has to be carried unanimously. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Jessica that bylaw 2417 being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to amend bylaw 2306 being a bylaw to provide for the establishment of the Environmental Advisory Committee of the City of Brooks be read a 3rd time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, is the media online there? No, the media's not online. Okay, moved by Councillor Idris that the meeting adjourn at 5:12 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you very